Okay, in this video, I wanted to talk about some of the work that's gone into the wealth activation system, so you can see its background a little bit. As you notice on the website here, there's a number of books that you can read as part of the program, or you can download separately from my private website. They are supportive books, and some of them are the history of where we are today and how we got there. One of those is the Ignorance is Bliss principle. And what that will outline to you, because it's very important when you want to success to know what you're up against in society and how society actually works to either support what you're doing or not. Mostly society wants you to be a box and fit into a square hole and go, okay, you are a consumer. Your value to society is how much you eat and consume throughout your life. In all sorts of different ways. You might think that you're part of this value democracy where every person is free to do what they want, but it's not really that way. It's kind of a subtle society where we are all channeled from birth to be a certain person. That happens from conditioning from birth, from our parents, our peers, our school teachers, our employers and different things. And we start to find that we are literally cornered into a corridor, and as time goes by, you kind of got, to some people in professional careers, if you change direction at all, that's going to ruin your CV, that's going to ruin your chances of getting a job with a company in that professional realm. And you start to find that you're channeled because it's security, your desk, where you go to work, you're into a routine. And what the brain loves is it loves repetition, it loves to be addicted to things. And there's all sorts of addictions, like chewing gum, smoking. They're going to the same place to pick up the same paper. That's part of routine, slight addiction to it. It's important to understand that these things are going on in your mind. And then you can once you start to realize that they're there, you can start to make choices. And I remember having a conversation with someone I was selling to years ago. It was probably when in my 20s. And she said, I make my own choices. And I had to say to her, well, you don't. When you go into a supermarket, do you think you make your own choices? And she said, yes, I buy the brands that I want. Well, first off, you watch the television and see the brands that are the top brands. They're not the only brands. And then the supermarket is selecting the brands they want to be in there. And then on the shelves, the brand pays a certain amount of money to have it either in eye level or down below or to the left or the right. So you're guided based around what the packaging as well appeals through market research after market research to appeal to certain consumers. So that, they are packaging everything so your choice, even though you think, oh, free choice, I like that particular, that's my brand, you have been targeted and manipulated to buy that certain product. So where is free choice? That's what the wealth activation system is about. It's about opening your mind to really starting to look at society from a holistic point of view. We've got the conditioning that we suffer from birth, we've got the conditioning of society, we've got the conditioning of government, and we've got the conditioning that goes on around us all the time in sort of like media static. And we talk about government. I mean, you can speak a lot of conspiracy theorists about how, you've got Illuminati and all these sorts of things, but you can't really do anything about that. It's not relevant, mainly because it's way over there. It's been in existence for hundreds of years. And what I do in the book is I give you some examples of the history of this, is because if I started a company maybe 100 years ago, and the obvious business strategy that I would employ, and this is what happens in all business, is I'd be successful, and then I'd put someone to run the business instead of me. And then what I would do is I'd buy other businesses that would trade with each other to make more profit, and then I'd try to dominate the market. That's why the Monopolies Commission is there. So my vested interest is that, this company buys from this company, but I own all the companies. And a lot of the media moguls that have papers, they play off ideas against each other to make more money. And it's a common strategy. It's not unique. I'm not just saying it because I'm making it up. It's how it works. And if I did, create a company that was powerful 100 years ago, my descendants would now be running that company, and the tentacles of that company would be all over the place. You wouldn't be able to find who was behind it, basically. And that's really where society runs. There are a few key figures that run society mainly through money. I mean, a word that's bandied around is like the Rothschilds. And if you look at the history of Rothschild, I mean, he was lending monarchs money years ago, hundreds of years ago, and funding wars on both sides, so whichever one he made money. That's not a bad trick to pull. And wars do tend to create money for people. You know, for guys going into war, you know, you don't have to go to work for the day. You go and you get fed, you get paid, and you can make some money, serious money on the side, on the black market when there's a war on. I mean, I used to live in Beirut, and all the guys go, you know, it was just after the war, and they're all a bit depressed because the war was over and the real money they couldn't make anymore. They had to go and get a job and work like everybody else, which was a bit depressing. After you've tasted freedom, it's very difficult to go back to the cage. It really is. You go, why would I want to be there? I want that freedom. Now, war isn't the solution. I just want to say that completely clearly. But it is a solution for making money for a lot of people because it's a huge enterprise. When you go into armaments and the amount of, you know, if the more shells you fire and the more bullets you fire, the more money someone is making. And the less bullets you fire, the less money. There's, you know, even in medical supplies and that sort of stuff, huge amounts of money for supplying those things. They don't get them for free. All the companies, all the governments go in debt to try and buy all this stuff, armaments, buy medical, buy food. So it's a huge money-making wheel, and the people in the background make a considerable amount of dosh through creating those situations. We can't do anything about that, and I'm not really interested in it. I'm interested in understanding the mechanism because it's another part of understanding what we're in and how it's controlling us and what it wants from us. Because even if you took society, take those people out of it, you can take the social structures, which is in the book, and you can start to see them in 3 different social structures. There was a writer, I can't remember his name, it's in the book. It's about how human society is based around 3 kinds of apes, like I think the bonobo, the orangutan and the chimpanzee. And each one has a different, the gibbon and the chimpanzee, and each one has a different kind of social structure. And some of them are male orientated, and the females and the children are at the bottom. And it's kind of a hierarchical structure and very powerful. And you have, it's like many businesses or governments, it's a pyramidal structure. So you've got those few at the top, one at the top controlling everybody down, dominating, and then everybody at the bottom. And then you have the other structure, which is the gibbons, which are really, they pair off for life, and they create a family unit and they protect their environment. It's very reminiscent of the West. And then you've got the bonobo, which are very social. And the only way to look at that is that, like Facebook, and very feminine. It means that, you know, they want to have friends, and the more friends they've got, the more powerful they feel. It's all about how much you're liked, not so much how much money you've got. It's detailed and accounted in that, so you can start to see in that book just what's going on in society, just what's influencing you, and it's really clearly laid out for you. So that's part of the program. If you want to buy the book, buy the book. If you want to go on the program, you'll get it anyhow. So I hope you enjoy it.